70% of the volume for the previous, in this case, week was. So this is the settings I have for market profile. We can see here higher time frame, weekly. So there's weekly, daily, and all the lower time frames as well. We can see something called the POC, right? So I'm just going to untick that. So you can only see this volume profile here. So this was now Monday the 8th, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? All the way to the following Monday. So this was the week 8th to the 12th, right? And so what this shows you here is the volume profile. So the volume profile is, again, the top 70% of that week's volume, right? Where were 70% of the transactions? 70% of the transactions for this week here were between this level, this price, so 6,926 down to about 6,875. So this is 70% of the volume right here. Now this yellow line here is arguably the most important line. This is what we call the point of control, or the POC, right? So I don't want to throw all these fancy terms, but basically what the POC represents is where most of the volume was transacted, right? So where was the highest point of volume for that week? Right? Where was the highest point of volume for that week? And so the reason the volume profile is so important is because it shows you where you want to be trading from and where the price is most likely to gravitate towards. So just taking that logical extension over to the next day. So what we can see here is here. So this is now Monday, the 15th. And so we can see obviously the week has started again. So if we just take a look at where the previous week's POC was, so that was 69.26, this red line over here. This was the previous week's POC. Now, if we just take a look at how Monday's price action actually behaved before I break down the trade, this is basically how it works, right? So the market tested the previous week's point of control almost to the T. Now, it doesn't always work out like this, but using the volume profiles gives you a massive edge on where the markets are going to, or where the markets are likely to react from. Just a quick tip so you can kind of take that to your advantage. Now, the next thing is using it for the daily market profile. It does the same sort of thing, right? So if we just kind of let that play out, you can look at previous days, keep old market profiles too. So you can see here, each market profile represents the previous day's volume. So this is Monday. It shows Friday.